All right, here we go with some transformations review. There's three you have to know about. A translation is a slide. No turning, no flipping, just sliding from one place to another. A reflection flips. It will flip either over the y-axis or the x-axis. And a dilation will either grow or shrink. Okay, so the only one that changes size is a dilation. All right, and the only one that changes direction is a reflection, just in case that comes up. So let's do some examples. The first one is triangle ABC is the pre-image. That means it's the first one. And triangle ADE is the image. What transformation took place? Well, this one is easy because the triangle was small and it's much bigger. So this was definitely a dilation. So just remember, if size changes, dilation is your answer. Okay? Which numbered triangle shows where the shaded triangle would be if it was translated 3 units right and 2 units down? Personally, what I would do is I would literally write 3 and point an arrow to the right, and then 2 and point an arrow down, so I know exactly what I'm doing. So I'm going to start with this point right here. I'm only going to move 1 point, and I'm going to go to the right 3 units. So 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to go down 2, 1, 2, and here is where I would end up. So you know right away your answer is 1, but let's go ahead and do it with the next one. 1, 2, 3, down 2, and there's my second point right there. Okay, let me see if I can go ahead and write it for you. And then with my third point, let me see if I can find my cursor. I'm going to go over 3 and down 2, and there I am again, and I have my third point. So just make sure you're careful about what they're asking you to do, and you'll get every one of these. This says polygon ABCD is dilated. So when I'm dilating, I'm going to have to use Desmos. So I'm coming over here to get ready. By a scale factor of 1/2. As soon as I know my scale factor, I put it on 2 lines of Desmos because I'm going to use the first line for my X value and the second line for my Y values. So I put 1/2 times on 2 lines. What coordinate pair would represent the image of B prime? So they're only concerned about B, so that's all I'm going to worry about. So B is point, let's count backwards, -1, -2, -3, -4, and then I went down 2, so that's -2. So the coordinates of B, point B, are -4, -2. So my X value is -4. I'm going to put that in my calculator right by my scale factor where I multiplied. And then my -2 is my Y value. So that means my new coordinates for B prime are -2, -1. And I got that from Desmos. And if you wanted to graph it, you would say -2, -1 would be right here. And that would be B prime. Okay? Use your calculator for dilation. Put the scale factor and times in 2 lines. Then put your X and your Y values there to find your new coordinates. All right, let's look at this one. It says, identify the coordinates of the image of triangle ABC after, again, we've got a dilation. About the origin, don't worry about that. It's just words that have to be there. By a scale factor of 2. So I know my scale factor is 2, so I'm going to say 2 times on my first line and 2 times on my second line, and then I'm going to move each point, A, B, and C. Well, we were lucky because look down here at the bottom. They actually told us what they were. So I'm going to find A prime, B prime, and C prime. So I'm going to do that by putting in my X and Y values for A. So I've got -2 and 4. That means my new points are -4 and 8. When your scale factor is a fraction, your figure gets smaller. But when your scale factor is a number bigger than 1, your figure is going to get bigger. So let's do b now. b was -2 and -3. So b prime, just like the calculator tells me, is -4, -6. So now let's go ahead and do c prime, which is a -4 and also a -3. So that means c prime is -8, -6. So if you wanted to actually put that on the graph, or if they asked you to, you would go to -4 and 8. 1, 2, 3, -4. That'd be a prime right there. And b prime is -4, -6. So 1, 2, -4, -6, which would be here. So that'd be b prime. And then c prime would be -8, -8 and -6. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be c prime right there. And of course, you wouldn't have to do this, but I'm just going to connect it so you can see that it definitely got bigger. Alrighty, so dilation, put that scale factor and then times in your calculator twice for your x and y values. Right here it says, what are the coordinates of polygon A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime after a reflection across the x-axis? The first thing I do is highlight the axis it's talking about, because otherwise I always tend to make mistakes. This is the x-axis right here. So that's the one that we are going to move over. All right, so let's figure this out and see how it's going to work. We are reflecting, so we're flipping. Let's start with A. I'm going to count 1, 2, and then 1, 2. So that point right there is my A and prime. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do D. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there is my B prime. I'm going to go ahead and do C. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's my C prime. And I'll do B last. 1, 2, 1, 2, and that is my B prime. So that's what that rectangle looks like when you reflect it over the y-axis. And like I said, make sure you're always careful about what axis it is and make sure to highlight it. Okay. All right, here's one that says, identify the coordinates of the image of triangle ABC after a reflection over the y-axis. So this time I'm going to highlight my y-axis and make sure I'm going to the right place. It gave me the points here, but I'm just going to count. 1, 2, 1, 2. There is A prime when I reflect over the y-axis. And let's do C. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is C prime. And then I'll do B. 1, 2, 1, 2. And that is B prime. And that's where the 3 points would be. That's where my triangle would flip. I'm not very good at connecting dots, but I will try so you can see it. Yeah, that wasn't very good. But anyway, that's where your triangle ends up. All right. Next one, it says, identify the coordinates of A prime after the triangle has been reflected over the y. That's the first thing. Then translated down 3 units. So I'm going to say down 3 and then left 1. All right, so let's see how I can do this. So I'm going to start at A. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight that y-axis because I want to make sure that I do that step correctly. So I'm going to go over the y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's the reflection. But then I'm going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to go left 1. 1. So this is my final point for A prime. Okay. And let's go ahead and figure out what that is. If I start at 0, I count over to 6, and then I go up none. So the final point would be for A prime would be 6, 0. Even if they give you, 3 things to do, just take your time, do one at a time, concentrate which axis and which way is right and left, and you got it. Okay? All right, we'll see you for the next video.